If you have been tired, unfocused, gaining weight, or waking up anxious, you are about to understand the one habit controlling all of it: sleep. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast, Healthy by Habit, where Healthy by Habit is a lifestyle creating healthy journeys with style. Today, we're going to talk about sleep, the most powerful medicine for your brain, body, and travel life. Sleep is a quiet architect of human health, a biological masterpiece working behind the scenes every night without fanfare. In a world obsessed with productivity, notification, and constant stimulation, sleep often becomes an afterthought, some time to squeeze in between obligations instead of the foundation around which we build our lives. But sleep is not optional. It is not a luxury either. It's not something you fit in. In the root system that nourishes every tree in the forest of your health, as Dr. Matthew Walker, the world-famous sleep scientist and author of Why We Sleep, one of the best books I have read on sleep, and I highly recommend that you read that. It will change the way you think about sleep. It consistently reminds us sleep is not passive downtime. It is an active state of healing, recalibration, and renewal. It is the most powerful free side effect, free medicine that exists. And today, we're going to take a long, deep journey into the hidden world of sleep, how it transforms your brain, stabilizes your emotions, reset your metabolism, strengthen your immune system, protects your longevity, and even shapes how you experience travel, adventure, and new environments. When you fall asleep, you're not turning off. Instead, you enter a beautifully choreographed sequence of brain states and bodily shifts. Your heart rate slows, your breathing becomes rhythmic, your body temperature drops, hormones pulse in time cycles. Electrical patterns ripple across your brain in waves. If wakefulness is the mind working to understand the outside world, sleep is the body working to restore the inner world. The nightly voyage is not random. It is very structured, intentional, and deeply intelligent. One of the most remarkable processes that happens during sleep is the overnight cleansing of the brain. Throughout the day, as you think, feel, move, remember, and process the world, your brain accumulates metabolic waste products, the biological dust of consciousness. Among these waste molecules is beta amyloid, a sticky, toxic protein associated with Alzheimer's disease. During deep sleep, the brain alleviates the lymphatic system, which behaves like a gentle internal pressure washer. Brain cells shrink slightly, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to wash through the tissues, flushing out accumulated toxins, just like as the cleaning crew come in and remove all the dirt around the roads, pretty much the same mechanism. This process is one of the greatest health achievements your brain performs each night. And it only happens during sleep. Even a single night of poor sleep increases beta amyloid levels the next day. If you've ever woken up after a short night feeling mentally foggy, forgetful, or slow, that sensation isn't psychological, it's biological. Your brain wasn't clean. I mentioned Alzheimer's disease, which is extremely on rise, especially in the United States. It can cause a loss of memory in an individual and a significant cognitive decline, which not only impact the individual who is suffering from the condition, but it also has significant emotional drain on the family. The less sleep you get, the more beta amyloid builds up in the brain. Over months and years of chronic sleep loss, the toxic protein begins to collect, harden, and form the plaques that interfere with memory, learning, and cognitive function. That is why people with long-term poor sleep are at a high risk for memory decline, early cognitive aging, and Alzheimer's. Even more worrying, the study shows that just one night of short sleep, as I mentioned earlier, increased measurable beta amyloid in the brain the next morning. And MRI scans reveal that people who habitually sleep 5 to 6 hours or less show faster aging in the brain regions responsible for memory. Sleep is not just rest. It's the brain's most powerful defense against Alzheimer's disease. When deep sleep is disrupted, that defense collapses. But when you protect your sleep, you protect your long-term memory, your cognitive clarity, and your future brain health. But the power of sleep extends far beyond memory. Sleep is the master regulator of metabolism. After even one night of restricted sleep, your body becomes less responsive to insulin, which means your cells cannot absorb glucose properly. Your blood sugar rises. Your hunger hormones shift dramatically. Leptin decreases, making you feel less satisfied by food. And ghrelin increases, making you crave carbs, sugar, and high-energy snacks. Studies have shown that people who sleep poorly naturally consume more calories the next day. We all have experienced that. Whenever we haven't slept well in the night, you will notice next day we feel that cravings to eat a lot of carbohydrates or snacking, which can have an impact on our health long term. And that's not because of our weak willpower, but because biology is demanding fast energy. That is why dieting becomes incredibly difficult when sleep is not optimized. You cannot fight your biology. Sleep is the foundation upon which it sits. Sleep is the most powerful emotional stabilizers available to us. The amygdala, that part of the brain responsible for emotional intensity, becomes highly reactive when sleep is restricted. Underslept people experience bigger emotional swings, stronger stress responses, and lower patience, and reduced emotional resilience. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of the brain, goes offline. That combination creates a perfect storm for irritability, anxiety, frustration, and conflict. During REM sleep, however, the emotional brain undergoes a kind of overnight therapy session. Memories from the day are reprocessed in a low-stressed environment. The brain removes the emotional sting from the experiences while retaining the facts. REM sleep is described as nature's emotional first aid. It helps you wake with a calmer heart, more balanced perspective, and stronger mental stability. Sleep also has profound effects on the immune system. Natural killer cells, the frontline soldiers of your immune system. They identify and eliminate viruses, bacteria, and even early cancer cells. Sleep deprivation reduces their activity by up to 70%. This means you're more likely to catch colds, more vulnerable to inflammation, and slower to heal. Long-term chronic sleep restrictions are linked to increased risk of cancer, cardiovascular disease, stroke, hypertension, depression, and type 2 diabetes. It is impossible to overstate this. Sleep protects your life. But to truly appreciate sleep, we must understand its architecture. Sleep is composed of repeating cycles, each about 90 minutes long, that include light sleep, deeper slow-wave sleep, and rapid eye movements, also called the REM sleep. Light sleep is your entryway into the night, the soft bridge between waking consciousness and deeper restoration. Stage 2 sleep, which occupies a large portion of the night, make memory strong and protect your rest using bursts of brain activity called spindles. Slow-wave deep sleep is the physical repair phase. Your body releases growth hormone, repair muscles and tissues, and make the immune system more stronger. It also reduces inflammation and performs metabolic maintenance. REM sleep is a dream state where the brain blends memories, processes emotions, sparks creativity, and solves complex problems in a way that waking thought cannot. As the night progresses, the balance of these stages changes. The first half of the night is rich in deep sleep, which repairs the body. The second half is rich in REM sleep, which repairs the mind. That is why you feel emotionally fragile when you cut your sleep short in the morning. Deep sleep heals your physical body, but REM sleep heals your emotional world. When you lose REM, you lose resilience. Travel disturbs all of this. When crossing time zones, your circadian rhythm, the internal biological clock, is forced to adapt to a new environment. But the circadian system is slow. It can shift only about 1 hour per day. This means flying from the US to Europe or the Middle East requires several days for the body to adjust. Jet lag is a biological disorientation, not mere tiredness. Light exposure at the wrong time, eating when the body isn't ready, and sleeping in unfamiliar environments all can disrupt the symmetry of sleep cycles. That is why travelers experience irritability, cravings, digestive upset, emotional sensitivity, and even low energy. I actually felt this personally on a trip to London a couple of years back. I stayed up late exploring the city and woke early and walked long distances. But by day 2, despite the excitement, I noticed something off. My patience were thinner, my cravings were stronger, and even in the beauty of the city felt slightly muted. Once I corrected my sleep, cooling my room, shutting off screens early, and hydrating more, everything changed. The city felt alive again, my creativity returned, and travel was again fun and effortless. Sleep didn't just restore my body, it actually restored my ability to experience joy. Now, one of the things you can take it as a supplement, especially in long travels or when you're traveling on the other parts of the world, is to just take melatonin with you. Although I don't encourage taking melatonin on a regular basis because recent studies have shown that if you take melatonin on a long-term basis, that can have quite of health hazards. And research after research is showing that. So keep its use very minimum if you have to, otherwise you don't have to take it. Now let's talk about caffeine and alcohol relation with sleep, and it can complicate sleep further. Caffeine blocks adenosine, the molecule that builds sleep pressure throughout the day. With its long half-life, caffeine taken in the afternoon still affects nighttime sleep. Alcohol sedates rather than helps sleep, blocking REM and disturbing sleep structure. One of the things you want to do is to make sure you don't take caffeine or coffee late in the afternoon. You want to keep a buffer of at least 6 to 8 hours between your sleep and the last sip you take. Temperature matters too. For deep sleep to occur, the core body temperature must drop by 2 to 3 degrees. Cooler rooms like around 65 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit is the ideal temperature for you to fall asleep. So make sure before you get to bed, adjust your thermostat at least an hour or 30 minutes early. So by the time you slide into bed, the temperature is ideal. You should adjust your temperature about roughly an hour before your bedtime. So by the time you're ready to sleep, the temperature is ideal. If the temperature is warmer, it will interfere with your sleep during the night. Another way you can actually make your sleep good quality sleep in the night is just take a warm shower just before bed. That actually also lowers your body temperature and allow you to fall asleep quicker. In every way, sleep is the engine of emotional intelligence, immunity, performance, clarity, and longevity. Protecting sleep is like protecting your life, your ambitions, your health, and the most important, your joy. So by honoring sleep, you actually honor yourself. Sleep is an essential longevity mechanism rooted in the mitochondrial repair, gut health, and inflammation control. Sleep is not merely rest. It's a program period for cellular rejuvenation and metabolic restoration. During your sleep, mitochondria, which is basically the powerhouse of your body, The tiny energy factories inside your cells perform the deepest repair cycles. Throughout the day, mitochondria accumulate oxidative stress and damage from metabolism, stress, and inflammation. During deep sleep, these structures detoxify, rebuild their membranes, and restore ATP output. Without sufficient sleep, mitochondria remain stressed and underperforming, contributing to fatigue, weight gain, premature aging, and metabolic slowdown. Your gut microbiome also operates in a circadian rhythm. During the night, when digestion pauses, gut bacteria switch to repair mode. They make the intestinal lining stronger, reduce inflammation, and detoxify metabolic waste. Late night eating disrupts this process, causing bloating, poor digestion, and microbial imbalance. That is why it's always recommending that you should finish your meal at least 3 to 4 hours before sleeping. And sometimes it could be pretty challenging, coming late from work or you're finishing your day late. But try to keep a window, ideally 3 to 4 hours from your dinner to your bedtime, but at least 2 to 3 hours. That will actually allow the gut to enter its healing cycle, which is very important. Let's talk about melatonin, often misunderstood as only a sleep hormone. It's the body's master mitochondrial antioxidant. It protects cells from oxidative stress, reduces inflammation, and initiates that nighttime repair I mentioned earlier. Now, blue light exposure at night suppresses melatonin, weakening mitochondrial restoration. For this reason, it's always important that you limit screens and bright lights in the evening and using warm amber lighting to encourage natural melatonin production, especially in the last 1 or 2 hours before going to bed. Now, poor sleep is always associated with increased gut permeability, commonly referred to as leaky gut. When sleep is restricted, inflammatory markers rise, the gut linings become very weak, and endotoxin seeps into bloodstream, promoting systemic inflammation. This contributes to cravings, a lot of autoimmune issues, joint stiffness, mood imbalances, and the brain fog. From a nutritional standpoint, I would always encourage light evening meals, low in sugar and lectins. And you should always focus on leafy greens, healthy fats, and clean proteins. Heavy meals or inflammatory foods late at night disrupt digestion, increase inflammatory load, and will impair your sleep quality. I'm Bilal Ahmed, and this is Healthy by Habit, where we remind ourselves that movement isn't just physical, it's personal. Thanks for tuning in to Healthy by Habit, where small steps create lasting change. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow, share, and leave a review to help others discover the show. You can connect with me at Instagram at Healthy by Habit and TikTok at Healthy by Habit. I also have a YouTube channel at Healthy by Habit -D4S and a LinkedIn account by my name, Bilal Ahmed DDS. And remember, your next healthy habit could start with just one small choice today. I'm Bilal Ahmed, and this is Healthy by Habit. See you in the next episode.